Let's just start out by just relaxing. Just relax. Allow yourself to be more aware, more present. Just simply start to be more in touch with what is going on, what you're already aware of, what you're already feeling. Just simply become more present, more aware, without focusing on any particular thing. This is what is called open awareness. Just aware, not aware of any particular thing. Awareness, not stuck on anything. Just aware. We're aware of everything. Without being caught in anything. Which is quite different than the way we normally are aware. Normally, we're always aware of something. We're aware of this or that, going from one thing to another. But here, we're just simply aware. Just rest in that. Just be that. So if you want to realize the mind or the awareness, all you have to do is just start being aware, or be the mind. without being lost in something as it usually is. So here you can just be aware without being aware of anything, or you can just let the awareness that you're experiencing simply be as it is. Let the awareness that you're experiencing to be as it is. Just simply allow it. That feeling of just simply allowing, letting, so you can do either one. So what are we doing when we're just simply being aware, not being aware of anything? In a way, whether you know it or not, we're starting to be who we really are. We are not what we see. We are the awareness which is aware of what we see. So what we see becomes something. When we focus on what we see, we're lost in the object. it's like a dead end. You're stuck in the object. And awareness is totally forgotten. So take a breath for a moment. So what are you experiencing? What are you feeling? What is this? What does this meditation do for you?
Brendan, Elizabeth Croft. It feels relaxing.
Mm-hmm.
Not as deeply as other times, but I'm a little, I don't know, maybe I'm a little tense today.
Well, we're always different.
Mm-hmm.
We're different if we're not, if we haven't realized that which is not that which is constant. If we're not that which already is, always is, which is constant, then we're always going to be up and down. That's what happens. So when you begin to develop the shamatha, the meditative stabilization, then you have something to work against that. Then you don't have to be a slave to everything that appears, all the feelings that come up. This is one of the reasons why we're doing this. So is this too simple or too difficult? You must experience something when you do this meditation.
I think it's both. It should be very simple, but
It's what?
I think it is both. It should be very simple.
What do you mean, bold?
Both of them. It is very simple, and
Yeah,
it is not at all, because it's very hard not to have thoughts come up.
right. Because you haven't practiced.
Not much.
Yep. That's why we have to practice. See, that's what I want to hear from you. I don't know where you are. I'm not clairvoyant, you know. I'm just like one of you, you know.
It's both relaxing and energizing at the same time, if that's possible. I like that there's not so many expectations that you have to focus in a narrow way. So I really appreciate focusing, being with awareness.
Okay. All right, that's good. In the beginning, you're allowed to focus. But eventually, we don't want to focus at all.
Yeah.
Being focused is being stuck, you see?
Yes.
I want you to really be clear about that. That's how we see things without us even knowing it. We don't have to focus to see, but it's a whole new way of seeing. If we're focused, we're stuck on that thing we're focusing on. Experientially, notice that you don't have to focus to see. Those of you who are not familiar, why don't we do that right now? I want you to see the difference. Pick an object, and what is the difference that you experience when you focus and when you don't focus? So spend a few minutes or whatever time you need to, focusing like you usually do. Then look at that same object, not focusing. See if you notice any difference.
Hey, Brendan, this is Chime. I'm wondering what your thoughts are about the difference between using something to focus on, like your breath, and using open awareness, which is not focusing on anything, and how those two different techniques can be beneficial for your awareness.
Why don't we do the practice that I'm asking you to do, okay, first? Then I'll answer that question, okay?
Okay, 10-4.
Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Okay. So when you normally look, when we look at this or that, are we not focusing? You may not be conscious or aware that you're focusing, but most of us are. That's why we're not in open awareness, because we're focusing. Just relax, take your time. See if you can tell if there's any difference between those two.
Brendan, this is Allison.
Yes.
It's pretty simple, but what I'm noticing is when I really focus on something, I lose the context. Like I was just looking at a specific leaf, and I could see that very clearly, but everything else around it kind of was not part of my focus. And then when I just stopped focusing, I could still see the leaf, but I had a much broader view with everything else in the picture as well.
Exactly. So how would you like to see most of the time?
With the broader
Would you
view.
like to see, would you like to go around and see out of a straw? Or would you like to have your eyes wide open and see all the things that are available?
Right,
That's what we do when we focus.
right.
We're seeing through an invisible straw.
Yep.
And we're not looking for context. Forget about context right now. See, that's it. When we're looking for context, we're trying to focus on the context. We're trying to be stuck on something. Context is something. So drop the context. You've heard the saying, drop the reference point.
Right.
Normally, most of us, if we have a reference point, we're not lost. But really, if you have a reference point, you're lost. You're lost from who you really are. When we don't have a reference point and we're aware, we're not lost in anything. But that is so different than the way we normally see. And this is how we can start to change ourselves. So we can stop being distracted, deluded as we are now. This is how we start. That's simple. So I did this with you before, Allison, right? Didn't I?
Sorry, I was unmuting. Yes, we've done this before.
So, well, you got to practice in order to get the experience.
Yeah. And it's definitely, I just noticed I have more of a smile on my face. It's if there's something releasing, or
Right.
I
So,
can breathe a little easier.
yeah. So non-focusing puts a shit-eating grin on your face. Non-focusing sounds so simple, but actually there's no end to it. It just depends on how far you take it, how much time you spend on it to see all the implications. This is what we do. We find a practice that we can start to get into, and we milk it to the end. Instead of constantly trying to look for new practices because you're bored. A lot of you have here been practicing. You have all the practice you need. What you really need to do is start to get into it. Really start to clarify experientially. You know, there's so many different ways to get to the same point, which is not a point. All right, who's the one that asked me about the open awareness now? I can try to answer that.
Hey, Brendan, this is Chime. Yeah, I
Oh,
asked.
oh, you just finished your retreat.
Yeah, I just got out of it yesterday.
Good for you.
Thank you. Yeah, my question was about the difference when you're practicing using an object of awareness, when you're using something like the breath when you're hyper focused rather than spatially aware or openly aware.
Mhm.
I'm wondering how that's affecting your meditation muscle, if you want to call it that. How it's affecting it differently each type of practice.
So it depends on where you're at. In the beginning, we need to put more attention to the object. We need to focus on the object more to prevent the awareness of mind from going out to different things as it usually does. So as you start to become established in that, mind can slowly start to be the mind more, then less effort is needed, less focusing is needed. Then you come to the point where you can have the open awareness, which is shamatha. Open awareness is shamatha, using awareness itself as an object of shamatha.
Brendan?
Is that clear,
I-
Chief?
Yeah.
I have, could I add something about open awareness?
Yes.
Yeah. When I was in Bulgaria, I had a personal interview with Mingyur Rinpoche, and one of the young men who was with me asked him about open awareness. And he gave the example. He said, there's on your left side, there's the sky, and on your left side are storm clouds, and on the far right side are beautiful, fluffy white clouds, and in the middle is clear sky. Open awareness is in that clear sky between the storm clouds and the nice clouds. So that's how Mingyur Rinpoche explained it to this young man.
Mm-hmm. Good.
I just thought I'd throw that in.
Yeah. Open awareness can be all that. But we're not stuck on anything. We're not focused on anything. Then nothing has to disappear to be in open awareness. Open awareness doesn't depend on whether there is an object or no object. In the beginning, for practice, we place our attention on a neutral wall or sky where the mind has less tendency to start to attach itself. Open awareness is just simply aware without being stuck on anything. Of course, open awareness is not the pure awareness, but it certainly is better than the awareness that's stuck on something all the time. You have when you have awareness, you have something that you can always turn to. When we get bothered, we get overwhelmed with emotions, thoughts, or whatever, you always come back to open awareness. That'll start to neutralize the things that you're stuck on. That's the value of open awareness. It doesn't liberate them, but it frees you temporarily from being under its helm.
Hi, Brendan. I was wondering if I could ask you a question. My name's Sarah, and I was
Sarah?
wondering, yes,
Sarah who?
Broadbent,
Broadbent.
but it just is Sarah by my name.
Okay. All right,
Hi.
Sarah. Hi.
So I feel like I may have become aware of awareness before I had an established shamatha practice of like focusing on the breath. So I was wondering if you have any advice on that situation, how to work with that.
You have to remember that awareness being aware of awareness is not the pure awareness, right? That's first thing we've got to clarify. People think in order to be purely aware, I got to be aware of the awareness. In the beginning, that helps to be aware. Awareness not to be distracted towards all the things. You see, the awareness has become the object of awareness. That's why it is not pure. That's why it's dualistic. See that? When I first started, I thought, oh, awareness being aware of awareness, that's a pure awareness.
Well, I've been afraid because I know it's not pure awareness. So then it's how do I work with that? Like without, like when I'm still working on like coming back to the breath.
How about just starting to be aware? Just simply aware. But that can be pretty steep. Another way, then we can start to realize or see the things that the awareness is aware is empty. Okay? And also, we can begin to see in the awareness our mind, to see what it is. That'll help you to see that it is not anything. It is empty. Empty awareness is pure awareness. Okay, you got that?
So the awareness itself that wonders what is even going on, that I need to focus on is empty also. Is that what you're saying?
No, we don't focus.
Okay.
We're just simply aware. When you're aware, gain some stability and clarity. It'll help. And you can start to see what the awareness is. Turn the awareness on itself. Start to see what it is. You can do it gradually. You can do it abruptly. You can do it, start conceptually, and you can do it non-conceptually. You can do it analytically and non-analytically.
For now, do you think a good point for me, because often it's the anxiety that comes up, wondering like, am I becoming more dualistic, right? So it's like, I think relaxing and going gradually will be helpful.
Yeah, that's fine.
So a sense of like needing to calm down about the whole thing feels important.
So are you worried about becoming dualistic?
Well, I already know that I am. I already know that
One of the ways you can work with that is be aware, okay? Experience the awareness, and just simply be the awareness. Totally be the awareness. You understand what I'm saying?
Are you saying like don't be afraid of it, just allow it?
No, I said be the awareness. Totally be the awareness that you're aware. Become the awareness. You know what that means?
I'm open to hearing more.
Totally be aware. We're aware. Totally be aware. That's how we can start to become one with the awareness.
And like, and I hope I'm not taking up too much time here, but I want to make sure I'm asking the question.
No, this is a good point.
Okay.
You know, this is like you need to get through this.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you so much. Becoming the awareness, how can I do that so that I'm not afraid I'm falling into a trap of like, I am becoming the awareness, like my
Well,
sense
you don't do that on the freeway, okay? First of all right? You don't try to do that on the freeway off the bat. When you're sitting on your cushion, you know, that's where you can start to try to be awareness, totally be the awareness. And you can try it first with an object, okay? Pick an object. When we first see the object, and there's the object, and there's the awareness, right? Now, just totally become the object. Become one with the object. Totally focus on the object. But it's better to say just become totally one with the object. That's what happens in Guru Yoga. Don't you notice? You become one with the Guru. You become the Guru. Same with awareness. Anyway, awareness is your true Guru anyway. Not the physical Guru.
because the scary part has been like, oh, how did I get here? And I know I still have an ego, right? Like I still have some sense of self. So it's like moving through this is kind of feels like it's tricky. So I appreciate your instruction.
Well, it is. See, you gotta, it's in this practice, at a certain point, you gotta just let go of everything. You're trying to maintain this observer, this policeman. We gotta get rid of the policeman.
Totally. And the policeman is there because I'm afraid that if I let go of it, I'm going to become an even bigger policeman or sense of self, right? Like that's,
No, you're not. There's such a fear about you being able to let go of this policeman because that's what brings you security. That's what maintains your so-called sanity. But during the practice session, you're allowed to go insane. No problem. There's nobody there to put you in an institution. Okay? This is how we free ourselves. As I said in the Dzogchen practitioners in the open, when they associate with people, you want to be just super normal. You want it to be so normal. But when you're not in the crowd, interacting with anybody, You want to get crazy as you can. You want to be totally free. You want to be able to let go everything. That's your problem. You just, all these things that you're holding on, you constantly checking. So you don't really give yourself a chance to really get into the practice.
Because it feels like I really am a beginner. Like I did not have a formal
Well,
sitting.
so I consider myself as a beginner too.
But I mean, like I had no sitting practice really established before any of this happened. So that's been part of the policeman too. That's like,
Well, you just, all you have to do is spend more time, okay? If you're interested, spend more time. That's all you have to do. You got to work at it. That's all. You know, the instructions are simple, but you got to work at it. That's why the practice becomes difficult, because there's a karmic resistance. No matter how simple, how great the practice. You know, we should be able to do it. It's easy. I'm getting the experience. Why in the hell am I not spending more time? Because there is the karmic resistance, karmic predisposition. That's the conditioning, the habit that we have. That's the thing we have to work with too. So Sarah, it sounds good. You're onto something. Stay with it. Work with it.
thank you so much for taking the time to talk.
So why don't we just simply drop everything right now? When you simply drop everything all of a sudden, all the things that you are really not is automatically dropped. And that first moment is perfect and complete. But it doesn't stay that way very long. That's where we can get the taste. But we also need the effort for practice. When you drop, simply drop, that's the non-effort for practice. We can't maintain that. We can't be that very long. That's why we need the support of the relative practice, like shamatha. Many other practices, prostrations, Vajrasattva mantra, soak offering, Tonglen practice. They all support and complement each other. We really need the four turnings, which is the simplest. So all you have to do is just keep on doing that. You will become that. You don't have to know that you're becoming that to become that. Know that. So all you have to do is just keep on practicing. I can attest to that from my own experience. So anybody here doing the Rangbap practice at all? You know what that is? Does everybody know what the Rangbap practice is? No? It simply is, in plain English, just letting things be as they are. Just allowing things to be as they are. You remember a Beatles song, Let It Be? Huh? Here, same thing. You just let it be. Whatever you perceive, feel, experience, you just simply allow it or let it be.
Brendan, it's Libby.
Yes.
I do try to do that practice. I find that I tend to kind of cycle between different aspects of your teaching when I'm meditating, and it'll be different at every session what works. But the Rambam is one of my favorite places to be if I can get there.
Yeah. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen as easy. So, you're too worked up, so you need to do more of a, effortful practice. So, which is fine. But when you're in a very relaxed state, then it just becomes so much easier.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but it is a very effective practice.
This is one of the pet practice or main practice that Sukse Rinpoche encourages if someone is really interested in realizing the true nature. You hear that, Sarah? Okay. So this can really help you, this practice of Rangbap. Just simply letting or allowing things to be as they are. Whatever you perceive, feel, experience, you just simply allow or let it be as it is. And same with mind. Those who are working with mind, once you gain some stability and clarity in the mind, you just simply allow or let the mind that you're experiencing to be as it is. It automatically becomes empty. Automatically becomes not anything. It automatically purifies itself.
Brandon,
Yeah,
would you say that letting it be also implies having no judgment, dropping judgment is part of letting it be?
of course it is. When you let it be, how can you have judgment? If
Right.
you start to judge, you're finished. You're doing something else.
Right.
So many things happen automatically when you let things be as they are. That's why this is such a great practice. You know, we have the practice that we do on manual. This is one of the automatic practice. It's a great practice. It's a practice that can take you from, it's easy and accessible in the beginning. One can start to get the experience. You don't have to become an advanced meditator, wait years to be able to start to get the experience on this. And it can take you all the way. As you feel, as you experience simultaneously, just allow her, let it be as it is. That experience or feeling just starts to self-dissolve, self-be. When you let everything be as it is, you or the self is no longer needed. That's how we can begin to free ourselves from the ego, this I, the self, just like that. Without having to realize emptiness, we can start to experience the empty nature of I or the self. That can be huge if you have that experience in terms of practice. How to see through the I or the self that really doesn't exist. How can we begin to actually experience the absence of this I or the self? By simply letting whatever you're experiencing to be as it is. Of course, those of you who are new, it's not going to be perfect and clear right away. But we start anyway. All the practices that we do doesn't have to be clear in the beginning. Some people have a tendency, if they can't pre-conceptualize the results of this particular practice, and then they don't want to do it. Meditation or practice is about going beyond what you're stuck in, going beyond what you know, going beyond what you're clear of. So how can you be clear and know beforehand? When what we have to really experience to realize is inconceivable and incomprehensible, and we're trying to conceive or comprehend the results of that practice. All right, let's just sit for a moment. And just simply be. So of course, most of us can't just totally simply be without being absolutely anything for very long. So when that empty being, automatic being is finished, we need the support to keep on being. That support can be the breath, can be the awareness, we just simply be that and nothing else. Simply be that. Become that. When you totally become that, it becomes empty being. So the awareness of breath becomes the support to just be. And you will come to the point where you don't no longer need the support. Then you can automatically just be. Being can self be. Pure being. Non-effortful, non-fabricated being. So when we do these practices, we will start to get the taste here and there. The more we do it, the more we get the taste. It's very intuitive. Everybody has their own rhythm, their own clock. Just by doing it, you will discover your own rhythm. So, any other questions about practice?
And then I have a question.
Yes.
How do you handle when the body talks to you and says, this hurts, you've sat long enough, get up. I mean, it interrupts, it interrupts whatever, if you can get into it. It's like the body interrupting you.
Why? Well, the thing is, you got to listen to the body at a certain point. Otherwise, it starts to get even with you.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't make a big deal. Our reaction is this preset, preconditioned reaction. I should be able to sit. I don't want to get up. I want to make this longer. Just simply give that up. Just relax, get up, listen to your body, then go back.
Okay.
That's how simple it can be. You see, our predispositions, the ready-made reactions creates this problem. It doesn't have to be a problem. I know, I went through the same thing. But you don't make a big deal. And not only that, you see, constant adjustment, constant adjustment. being open.
I found this on the web for AC constant adjustment. Check it out.
Constant adjustment. So we're ready for anything and everything. So we don't get stuck. If we're ready for something and only certain things, then we will get stuck. That was one of the instructions that Suzuki Roshi gave. Just ready, totally ready, but not ready to anything. Just ready. Just being ready is total presence, awareness, mindfulness. That is all included in just really being ready. Just different words. So it takes a long time to be able to constantly adjust and be spacious to anything that happens without trying to adhere to the preconceived, preset agendas, how we should react, how we should be. This is how we really start to free ourselves. We need that in this situation. We don't get stuck on the situation, you know. We don't overblow the situation. We just need to make the adjustments that needs to be made, and that's it. You don't need to go above and beyond. You just adjust whichever way you can at this moment to the situation.
Brandon,
Mm-hmm.
Soxy Rinpoche has said two different things to me at two different times. One time he said, talking about meditation, just sit there, like implying, things can be not so comfortable, and say, just sit there. And then another time he said, if it's really rough, just get up and walk away. Don't sit, kid, just keep sitting, get up and walk away. So I've had both of those instructions. So can you
But I'm
comment on
saying
that?
the same thing here.
Yeah, so, yeah.
If you need to get up, get up. There's nobody says that you have to force yourself to sit.
Right.
If you need to
Sometimes,
pee, pee. Nobody says you need to hold it for a certain amount of time.
well, I
Only
think
you
that
make that up. We make that up.
but I think the distinction when he said just sit there is like, don't be so, just give in so easily to your thoughts and frustrations. But on the other hand, there's a balance point between having some discipline and then not trying to force something that you can't force.
Of course, you can't go in the extremes. This is where Carol, our individual discriminating wisdom, comes in. which cannot be prescribed X, Y, Z. We have to develop this on our own through our own experience. So you can't take everything so literally. That's why Sokso Rinpoche tells the same thing differently to different students. You should try to clarify these things more yourself. That's what I'm forcing you to do when I ask you these questions. I'm forcing you for you to start clarifying.
No, you can't force me to do anything, but thank you for the effort.
I'm not forcing you. I don't need to force you. I have no desire to force you. So that's one of my practices, is to ask questions. Really try to clarify by asking, you know. This is how we can start to challenge ourselves too. Even though it may seem not so easy at the time, but ask the question. See if you can really get into it and try to answer it the best you can. So it may not be totally clear at first, but as you start to ask the questions, one question leads to another, then finally, what seems so not clear at first can become clear. Can be a process that we go through. That's why I ask the stupid, obvious questions. Like, what are you asking me? Why am I here? You see, you just take this so granted. You never really try to see, why are you here? See, we overlook so many things. That's why we miss the obvious. True nature is so close, so obvious that we miss it. As I have said before, when one becomes awakened, one doesn't see or realize something totally new. Only sees, clarifies what's always been there. All right, my time's up. Any questions or comments? I always welcome your feedback because I'm really trying to communicate with you. I'm not just here filling my time to get paid for what I'm doing.
Brendan, this is Libby. It's been a really great teaching. Your directness is very helpful, and I feel refreshed, especially with the Rungbuk. I thank you for going through that again and reminding us of how to do that practice. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. So that's the thing. Once is not enough. We need to be reminded over and over and over and over. You know, like the mind practice. How to just by being the mind will start to become itself. But we got to somehow remind ourselves so we can continue to be the mind.
Brendan, it's Allison. I just want to thank you for your sense of humor in the whole thing. It really helps me. So I always experience both a lot of strength and directness that's got a little bit of fierceness in it, but then there's this hilarity in your teachings that just really helped me let go.
Who's speaking?
Allison.
Oh, okay.
So thank you so much. And
Well,
it's
you're
really
so welcome.
yeah, and it's really something to be able to, you know, speak to so many of us who are all in different places with our practice and have it be a place we can come with questions. So thank you.
Yeah.
Brendan, this is Adik. As I told you last time we spoke, and I always have the same feeling. The most amazing thing is you show us how to look, because we don't. Yeah, I mean, it's the most difficult thing, which is the simplest thing, but it's to know how to look. And we keep on missing it. But what you do is you open the door and you keep it open for us, for me.
Yeah.
And that helps a lot. That extends that time of having a taste a little longer, so it becomes just a little bit more familiar.
Right.
And that's
keep on doing it. That's all it takes.
That's what it is. And the clarity of your instruction is unsurpassable, and I thank you for that.
Yeah, so that's one of the things I've been working on mainly, Eric. Really trying to clarify and communicate how to really look. Most of us look, but we don't really look, so we don't really see what is there. When we're aware, most of us are barely aware, and we're not really aware. Just as when we look, we don't really look. We just casually, half-assedly look. If you just simply really start to look what you're looking at, you might surprise yourself. You remember the famous instruction in the Cargill? Directly look at the thoughts, and the thought dissolves. That's a big deal, if you can do it. But we start by really starting to look what we're looking at. That's how we start. So when you get out of here, when you have time, pick an object and just look at that object casually. Then really start to look at that object. If you notice any difference. So those of you who are going to come back next time, you can tell me. That's your homework. So
Thanks, Brendan.
Just simple looking, in the looking. So we really don't look, then what we're looking at automatically becomes something. If we start to really look, then it doesn't become anything. Anyway. Shut up.
Brendan, thank you so much for spending the last hour and a half with us. Really, that's been wonderful. I want to let all of you know who are still on the call that Brendan's going to teach a full weekend retreat with us, not this coming weekend, but next weekend, starting on the 17th, 17th, 18th, and 19th. Friday night, the 17th, all day Saturday on the 18th, and all day Sunday on the 19th. And if you're interested in joining us for that teaching, which will be wonderful to spend so much time together and with Brendan, you can sign up on the Padmasambhava Meditation Center website. You can go to pmctr.org and go to the programs calendar, and you'll see the program. And then lastly, if you would like to make a donation to help support the efforts for us hosting these different free Zoom meetings, you can also go to the website pmctr.org/donate. That would be really great. And thanks. Brendan, thanks again.
I feel like Mr. Magoo.
Aren't you? I thought that's who you were.
Well, I am the reincarnation of Mr. Magoo.
Brendan, there's two comments. There's one from Alexia. She says,
Yeah.
Thank you so much for this practice and for your openness and insights. For me, it has everything to do with letting go. Thank you. And Brandy says, thank you from Uniontown, Pennsylvania. I've enjoyed my time very much.
Brandy?
Brandy.
That used to be my name. No, really.
Really?
For years and years when I was living in Mammoth, everybody knew me as Brandy.
Really?
Yeah, the one Indian guy, asked me one time, what's your name? I said, Brendan. And he said, Brandy? No, I said, Brendan. And he said, Brandy? Yeah, it is Brandy. Okay, go ahead. And the name stuck with me.
Now I'm going to call you Brandy.
Whatever you want to call me.
Or Mr. Magoo.
What do you like? I'm yours.
We're so lucky. All right, everybody. We'll call it a night. Thanks. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Brendan. Thank you.
A dedication prayer.
Oh, yeah. Let's do a dedication prayer. Go ahead, Brendan. You lead it.
No, I don't. I have my own dedication prayer.
Okay.
You want to recite mine, or you want to recite the Padmasambhava?
Well,
Either one is okay with me.
I loved it. I loved it last week. Yeah, last week.
Right,
When
I'm going to recite.
Yeah.
You know.
Let's do it.
When I jerry-rigged. By the power of this practice, may our real enemies, our own confusions and misdeeds be overcome, totally realize our true nature, so that we may free beings from miseries of delusion, afflictions, negative emotions, anger, and fear, endless waves of ocean of samsara. May the pure and brilliant sun of bodhicitta dawn in each and every heart and mind, dispelling the darkness and suffering and confusion, unstoppably until all are fully illumined and awakened.
Alalaho.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks,
so
everybody.
much. Will this
Thanks,
recording
Brendan.
will
Thank you.
this will this recording be at all available?
Yes, definitely, Alexandria. I will upload it tonight to the
Okay.
PMC YouTube channel, so you can follow us on
Awesome.
YouTube.
Is that Sarah?
Find it. No,
It's Lexi, Brendan.
Oh.
Lexi.
I joined in at 7 Portland time rather than Mountain time. So I missed
Okay.
the first hour, but next time I'll get it. And thank you so much for making the recordings available and for hosting all of us. Thank you. Thank you, Brendan Law. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Good night.
Good night.